everyone, and welcome. I'm Dr. John Smith. If you are watching this, chances are you or someone you love has felt it. That sudden, frustrating prickle in your toes, that deep, burning sensation in the soles of your feet at 2 a.m., or that subtle, uneasy feeling that your balance just isn't what it used to be. If you've been told that this numbness or tingling is just a normal part of getting older, I want you to look right at me. That is simply not true. Your nerves are failing, but they aren't doing it on their own. They are being steadily starved and irritated by specific elements in our daily modern environment. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on what is truly happening inside your body after the age of 65. We are going to look at how hidden dietary traps trigger chronic inflammation, and specifically how a process known in clinical medicine as Advanced Glycation End-products, or AGs, stiffens the microscopic blood vessels that feed your limbs, effectively cutting off the oxygen supply your nerves need to survive. But before we dive into how we can stop this damage and help your body repair, I want to ask you a quick favor. Right now, down in the comment section below, type the city or state you are tuning in from, and let me know if you've been dealing with that annoying tingling or numbness. You're on ones. Why do I ask this? Because neuropathy can feel incredibly lonely. It makes people want to stay home, and it steals your confidence. By leaving a comment, you are helping us build a real, active community right here. When you scroll down and see hundreds of other folks writing the exact same thing, you'll realize instantly that you are not walking this path alone. We are in this together, and we are going to fix it together. Now, let's talk about that biological electrical system inside you. To understand how to fix the problem, we first need to look at how beautifully your body was designed. Think of your nervous system as a massive, ultra-precise electrical grid. From the base of your brain all the way down to the tips of your toes, millions of microscopic cables are constantly carrying messages. They tell your brain if the floor is slippery, if a surface is hot, or exactly how much pressure to apply so you can confidently pick up a cup of coffee without spilling a drop. Now, just like the wiring inside the walls of your home, these biological cables cannot be exposed to the elements. They require a very specific, high-quality insulation. In the human body, this protective coating is called myelin. When your myelin sheath is thick and healthy, messages travel at lightning speed, and your balance feels completely solid. But here is the catch about nerve damage, or peripheral neuropathy. It almost never starts with a dramatic explosion. It doesn't scream for your attention, it whispers. In the beginning, it's just a tiny occasional tickle in your left big toe. Then, a few months later, it turns into a mild burning sensation, almost like you've been walking on hot sand. You might find yourself occasionally misjudging a step or scuffing your shoe against the rug. Because these symptoms come and go, it is incredibly easy to brush them off as tiredness or just a sign of a long day on your feet. But by the time that burning turns into constant, agonizing pain that keeps you awake at night, it's not the start of the issue, it's the result of months or even years of silent, steady erosion beneath the surface. Let's talk about why that protective insulation begins to crack. One of the most widespread, overlooked causes of nerve erosion in folks over 65 has nothing to do with what you are eating, but rather what your body has completely lost the ability to absorb. I am talking about a chronic, long-term deficiency in vitamin B12. Many people ask me, Dr. Smith, how can a simple vitamin cause me to lose my balance or make my feet feel numb? Well, remember that plastic insulation on our electrical wires, the myelin? Vitamin B12 is the essential raw material your body requires to manufacture and patch up that coating. Without it, the repair work stops. As the months roll by without enough B12, that smooth protective layer dries out, thins, and eventually develops bare patches. Now you have exposed, raw biological wires. When the nerve fibers are stripped bare, they begin to short circuit. Every single time you feel a bizarre phantom itch, a stabbing jolt, or a sensation like cold water running down your calf, you are experiencing literal electrical sparks jumping from damaged, uninsulated nerves. Here is the frustrating reality of aging. After we cross the age of 65, the stomach's cellular lining naturally decreases its production of gastric acid. You could be eating a perfectly healthy diet with plenty of protein, but without that stomach acid, your body cannot unlock the B12 from your food. It just passes right through you. Worse yet, millions of Americans take daily over-the-counter acid reducers, proton pump inhibitors, or heartburn medications. While those pills might soothe your reflux, they completely shut down the last remaining acid factories in your stomach. You are essentially locking the door to the very nutrient your nerves are screaming for. If you find yourself experiencing that strange sensation of walking on layers of cotton or wool, please don't panic. This is not a life sentence, and your body has an incredible capacity to heal if we give it the right tools. First, I want you to remember a very specific number, 500. The next time you get your routine annual blood work done, ask your doctor to check your serum B12 levels. Most standard commercial laboratories will tell you that a level of 200 or 300 is completely normal. But here is the catch. Those standard ranges are designed for young adults. For those of us over the age of 65, a low normal level is simply not enough to protect and rebuild your myelin insulation. You want your target number to be safely above 500 picograms per milliliter. That is the therapeutic threshold where nerve regeneration can truly begin. Talk to your primary care physician about sublingual B12 supplements or injections that bypass the stomach entirely. Now, let's pivot to the second silent nerve drainer, and this one is a phantom that haunts millions of households across America. It doesn't come with a warning label, it's completely free, and yet it is quietly shrinking your nerve cells every single day. I am talking about chronic, low-grade dehydration. Most people tell me, Dr. Smith, I only drink when I'm thirsty, so I'm doing just fine. But here is a fascinating piece of human biology. As we celebrate more birthdays, the hypothalamus, the region of the brain responsible for triggering our thirst mechanism, naturally loses its sensitivity. By the time your mouth actually feels dry, your cells have already been operating in a severe drought for hours. Your nerves require a fluid environment to conduct electrical signals efficiently. When you live in a constant state of mild dehydration, those signals warp, manifest as painful nighttime cramps, and leave your legs feeling heavy and unresponsive. To fix this underlying cellular drought, please do not make the mistake of chugging a massive quart of water all at once. If you pour a gallon of water onto a completely dried out, cracked houseplant, the liquid just rushes down the sides and drains out the bottom without ever soaking into the roots. Your body works the exact same way. Instead, you need to use what I call the drip irrigation strategy. Take small, conscious sips of plain water consistently from the moment you wake up until the sun goes down. A glass in the morning to wake up your organs, a few sips every hour to keep the system fluid, and a glass in the early evening to stabilize your nerves before bed. Now, as we move into the deeper layers of nerve protection, we have to confront a major lifestyle factor that leading medical institutions, including the American Heart Association and the Mayo Clinic, have highlighted as a direct driver of nerve damage. I am talking about the hidden epidemic of high-sodium, ultra-processed foods. Many people think excess salt only matters for your blood pressure, but modern neurology tells a much more dangerous story. When you consistently consume hidden sodium found in canned soups, frozen dinners, and packaged snacks, it triggers chronic, low-grade systemic inflammation and severe oxidative stress inside your biological terrain. This cellular stress causes the tiny, microscopic blood vessels that surround your nerves to constrict and narrow. Because these vessels are already as thin as a human hair, even a tiny amount of inflammatory swelling can completely choke off the blood flow. Your nerves are essentially left gasping for oxygen, resulting in that sudden, agonizing shooting pain or total numbness in your fingers and toes. Let's step into the grocery store aisles and uncover what I call the great imposter. This is an enemy that doesn't look scary at all. In fact, it often wears a healthy-looking green label, boasts about being organic, low-fat, or heart-healthy, and sits right on your pantry shelves at this very moment. I am talking about hidden sugar. So many patients sit down in my office, shake their heads, and say, Dr. Smith, I don't have a sweet tooth. I gave up candy, cake, and soda years ago. My neuropathy can't be from sugar. But here is the harsh reality. The vast majority of the sugar-destroying American nerves does not come from the dessert cart. It is quietly slipped into everyday savory foods by food manufacturers to make them highly addictive. It is hidden in your morning slice of store-bought wheat bread. It is packed into your favorite low-fat salad dressing, your quick instant oatmeal packets, your fruit-flavored yogurt, and even canned pasta sauces. When you consume these hidden doses of processed sugar throughout the day, your body experiences constant, rolling waves of elevated blood glucose. Even if you aren't a diagnosed diabetic, these repetitive spikes act like a slow, toxic leak inside your bloodstream. It creates a state of continuous biochemical friction, quietly irritating the delicate outer membrane of your nerve pathways until they can no longer accurately signal your brain. To defeat this hidden enemy, you have to become a health detective. Food companies are smart. They know that if you see the word sugar listed as the very first ingredient, you might put the item back on the shelf. So they hide it behind chemical aliases and complex names. When you turn a package around to read the ingredient list, I want you to look for words ending in O's, like maltose, dextrose, sucrose, and fructose. Keep an eye out for terms like high fructose corn syrup, barley malt, brown rice syrup, or fruit juice concentrate. Sometimes, a manufacturer will use 4 or 5 of these different names in a single box of crackers, just to split up the total weight so that none of them appear at the very top of the list. It is a legal shell game, and your nerves are paying the price. The solution is wonderfully simple. We need to step away from the boxes and return to real, single-ingredient foods. An apple with its skin intact is infinitely better for your nervous system than a processed fruit bar. A fresh piece of roasted chicken will protect your body far better than packaged deli meats loaded with preservatives and corn syrup. When you eliminate these hidden chemical sugars, you immediately turn down the volume on that systemic inflammation. A constant biological fire begins to cool, your cellular pathways clear up, and your body can finally redirect its energy toward repairing those frayed nerve endings. Now, let's step directly into the deepest part of our journey and confront the absolute #1 destroyer of peripheral nerves in adults over 65. This is a dietary staple so familiar, so comforting, and so deeply embedded in our daily routines that we rarely stop to question it. It sits on almost every dinner table across America, completely unsuspected. I am talking about ultra-refined carbohydrates, most commonly known as white flour. Think about it for a moment. The soft, fluffy white sandwich bread, the comforting bowls of traditional pasta, the crispy dinner rolls, and the light crackers that accompany your evening soup. Why do these foods practically melt in your mouth? Because food processing plants have completely stripped them of all their natural fiber, vitamins, and living nutrients. What is left behind is a dead, naked starch. I do not call white flour the worst nerve poison out of nowhere. I call it that because its attack on your peripheral nervous system is not a simple one-time injury. It is a highly coordinated, relentless assault that hits your body on multiple biological fronts simultaneously. The moment you swallow a piece of white bread, your digestive system instantly converts that refined starch into pure glucose at lightning speed, sending your blood levels soaring and forcing your pancreas into an absolute state of emergency. Let's look closely at front number 1, the insulin storm, and the fire of chronic cellular inflammation. When your blood sugar shoots up like a rocket after eating refined flour, your pancreas panics and pumps out a massive wave of insulin to clear the glucose out of your bloodstream. When this vicious cycle repeats itself, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your cells eventually become exhausted. They grow completely numb to the signal, slamming their doors shut in a condition known as insulin resistance. Now, why is insulin resistance so devastating for your limbs? Because it acts like a spark that ignites a slow, smoldering fire of chronic inflammation throughout your entire body. Imagine your nerves sitting inside that inflammatory heat day after day. They are slowly starved of oxygen, their delicate cellular structures are irritated, and over time, the weakest fibers simply begin to wither and die. This brings us directly to front number 2, the restriction of your microvascular supply lines. The tiny, microscopic blood vessels that are solely responsible for carrying fresh oxygen and nutrients to the nerve endings in your fingers and toes are highly sensitive. Refined starches cause these microvessels to stiffen, narrow, and lose their elasticity. When the blood flow drops to a trickle, your nerves are left completely stranded. They starve, they weaken, and that is precisely why so many of you notice that your hands and feet feel perpetually freezing, stiff, and utterly numb. This leads us to front number 3, the destructive process of advanced glycation. When your body is flooded with an excess of refined starches and circulating sugars, it triggers a spontaneous chemical reaction inside your bloodstream. The excess sugar molecules literally attach themselves to the proteins and lipids that make up your nerve tissues. Think of it like pouring hot, sticky black tar directly over a delicate piece of computer machinery. As that sugary tar cools, it hardens. It deforms the physical structure of your nerves, making them stiff and brittle. When your nerve pathways are warped by glycation, they can no longer transmit clean, clear messages back to your brain. The electrical impulses become completely chaotic and scrambled. One minute, your brain receives a false signal of an intense burning fire on the bottom of your foot, and the next minute, it receives absolutely nothing at all, leaving your toes entirely numb. I can't tell you how many times a sweet, well-meaning patient has looked at me with tears of frustration in their eyes and said, "Dr. Smith, I don't understand why my feet hurt so bad. I eat a very light diet. For breakfast, I only have a slice of white toast, and at night, I just have a few plain crackers." They had absolutely no idea that these innocent, everyday habits were the exact things keeping their biological electrical grid under a constant crushing siege. The good news in all of this is that your body possesses an absolutely beautiful, resilient capacity to forgive and heal. The answer to saving your nerves is not to go on a starvation diet, nor is it to completely eliminate every single carbohydrate from your life forever. That is simply not sustainable, and frankly, it takes all the joy out of eating. The real secret lies entirely in upgrading the quality of what you put on your plate. We need to actively replace what I call dead, stripped flour with living, whole flour. When you deliberately choose true, dark, dense, whole grain bread, steel-cut oats, wild brown rice, or ancient grains like quinoa, you are giving your body complex structures that still contain their natural fiber and essential trace minerals. These whole foods take a long time for your digestive system to break down, which completely changes your internal biochemistry. Because of that slow digestion, your blood sugar levels remain perfectly smooth and stable, completely eliminating those violent, erratic insulin spikes. The smoldering fire of systemic inflammation begins to cool down almost immediately. Your microscopic blood vessels can finally relax, expand, and reopen their pathways, allowing oxygen-rich blood to flow freely down to your lower limbs once again. I have watched patients who were completely convinced they would end up in a wheelchair totally turn their lives around. By simply changing the type of grains they bought at the grocery store, the constant morning tingling began to fade, and their legs regained a level of firmness they hadn't felt in a decade. Every single time you walk past the white bread aisle and reach for real, whole food, you are sending a direct message of care to your nervous system. It all starts with a single, conscious decision to stop accepting nerve pain as an inevitable consequence of aging. You have the power to put a shield around your nerves, and your body will respond to that protection with an extraordinary recovery. Now that we understand the core mechanics of how these dietary changes save your limbs, let's address some of the most common questions that are probably spinning through your mind right now. The very first question I always get in my clinic is a big one. Dr. Smith, does this mean I have to say goodbye to bread for the rest of my life? Let me put your mind at ease right away, because the answer is an absolute, definitive no. We are not here to live a life of miserable deprivation or punish ourselves at the dinner table. The true goal of modern medicine is education and evolution, not elimination. The real trick is becoming a wise, observant consumer when you are walking down the supermarket aisles. A slice of commercial white bread is basically a processed starch balloon that causes your blood sugar to explode. On the other hand, an authentic, dense, dark loaf of 100% whole grain or sprouted sourdough bread is packed with fiber that actively protects your body. It's all about swapping out the dead flour for something that actually feeds your cells. The second question that almost everyone asks me is, how long is it going to take before I finally start noticing a real change in my feet? To answer that honestly, we have to remember that your body is a magnificent biological ecosystem, not a simple light switch. It took months, and likely several years, of silent, steady erosion to wear down that protective myelin insulation on your nerves. Because of that timeline, your nerves require a bit of patience and consistent care to rebuild themselves from the inside out. However, the wonderful news is that your nervous system is incredibly grateful for any positive changes you make. When you consistently implement proper hydration, optimize your B12 levels, and kick hidden sugars to the curb, the initial signs of relief often show up within just a few short weeks. You will begin to notice that the intense burning sensation in the soles of your feet at night starts to quiet down. That annoying, persistent morning tingling will turn into a faint whisper rather than a loud roar. Every single day that you choose real, whole foods over processed items, you are applying a fresh layer of biological cement to repair the cracks in your system. Now, we must address the absolute golden rule of nerve recovery, and it is something I want you to engrave deeply into your mind. Many folks ask me, Dr. Smith, once I start eating whole foods and hydrating properly, can I completely stop taking my neuropathy medications? My answer to that is an absolute, unconditional no. Please do not ever alter or discontinue your prescribed medications on your own. What we are doing here today is laying out a comprehensive roadmap of nutritional knowledge so you can truly understand how your body works. However, your personal primary care physician is the only one who holds the actual compass for your specific medical history. They know your unique biology, your lab trends, and how your various prescriptions interact with each other. Before you make any sweeping changes to your healthcare routine, you must bring this information directly to them. I always tell my patients to view their local doctor as their chief ally in the fight to regain mobility and comfort. Frame this information as a team strategy during your next clinic visit. Sit down and say, "Doctor, I want to actively improve my microcirculation and protect my myelin sheath through my diet. How can we work together to monitor my progress?" This turns your medical appointments into proactive, empowering conversations. Never, under any circumstances, should a video on the internet replace the specialized, face-to-face evaluation of a trusted healthcare professional. The dietary strategies we discuss are designed to work hand in hand with clinical medicine, creating the perfect internal environment for your limbs to heal. When you combine top-tier medical guidance with excellent daily nutrition, you create an unstoppable force against nerve decline. Taking control of your health does not mean walking away from established medicine. It means becoming an active, informed participant in your own care. By understanding the root causes of nerve irritation, you can ask better questions and make highly educated choices. Now that we have established this vital foundation of safety, let's look at the big picture of what your future mobility can truly look like. I know that learning about all these hidden traps can feel a bit overwhelming, especially if you are already dealing with a lot of daily pain. But please remember that my goal as a physician is never to make you feel afraid or hopeless about the future. Fear paralyzes us, but true medical knowledge gives us the power to take immediate, effective action. Your body is not a machine that is simply destined to break down completely the minute you cross a certain age. The reality of peripheral neuropathy is that it doesn't just appear out of nowhere overnight, like a sudden cold or flu. It is the long-term cumulative result of thousands of tiny, innocent decisions we made over the course of decades without knowing any better. Because it is a slow-moving process, that means we have plenty of time to turn things around by making better choices today. You are entirely in the driver's seat when it comes to your daily habits. Every single glass of clean water you choose to sip throughout the morning is a direct victory for your cellular health. Every time you consciously turn a package around to check for hidden sugars, you are actively shielding your limbs from chemical irritation. These might seem like incredibly small, insignificant actions in the moment, but when you stack them up day after day, they create a massive wave of healing. Your body is always listening to the environment you provide for it. Throughout my career as a doctor, I have seen hundreds of older adults walk into my clinic feeling completely defeated, convinced they would just have to live with burning feet forever. But the moment we cleaned up their nutrition, restored their B12 levels, and cooled down that internal inflammation, their bodies responded with an absolute miracle of biology. The agonizing nighttime burning began to calm down, their physical stability returned, and they got their lives back. You are absolutely no different from those patients, and you can achieve the exact same results. The path to reclaiming your physical freedom doesn't require you to completely overhaul your entire life by tomorrow morning. That approach only leads to frustration and burnout, which is the last thing we want. Instead, I want you to focus entirely on winning just one choice at a time, starting with your very next meal. By focusing on small, manageable victories, you will build an unstoppable momentum that your nerve cells will thank you for. Right now, I want to invite you to take the absolute first step on this healing journey with me. Down in the comments section below, I want you to type out just one single word: change. Writing that word down might seem simple, but it is actually a deeply powerful public declaration to yourself and to this community that you are officially taking back control of your personal health. It marks the exact moment you refuse to let nerve damage dictate how you live your golden years. This journey is about so much more than just memorizing medical facts or looking at laboratory numbers on a page. This is about fighting for your absolute personal freedom, your physical mobility, and your peace of mind. It means being able to sleep through the night without a sudden jolt of pain waking you up in tears. It means having the rock-solid confidence to walk down your front steps, visit your family, and enjoy your hobbies without the constant, terrifying fear of taking a dangerous fall. If the information we shared today brought a sense of clarity to your mind, or lifted a heavy burden of worry from your shoulders, please take a second to share this video with someone you care about. Send it to a friend, a neighbor, or a loved one who might be suffering from that annoying tingling in silence, because a single click from you could completely change the course of their life. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a single step as we map out your path to recovery. I don't believe in offering empty magic promises on this channel. Instead, I am here to give you the honest truth and the practical, science-backed tools you need to live your life after 65 with absolute strength. Your nerve cells have worked incredibly hard to serve you faithfully every single second of your life, from the time you took your very first steps as a child. Now, it is finally your turn to give them the love, protection, and high-quality nutrition they truly deserve to stay healthy. Thank you so much for investing your valuable time today into taking care of the single greatest asset you will ever own, your health. Stay consistent with your daily hydration, watch out for those hidden supermarket sugars, and keep moving forward with confidence. I'm Dr. John Smith, wishing you a long, beautifully active, and completely pain-free life ahead. Take care, and I will see you right back here in our very next video.